Welcome to another episode of Steve Lags Unfiltered. I got an amazing topic for you today. I'm going to discuss a concept that is key and critical for you to become happier in life, for you to accomplish your goals, for you to experience growth in your life, for you to become more successful in life, and for you leaders out there, for you to become a more impactful leader. So buckle up, guys. This one's going to be good. Let's get going.
And now, introducing your host, Steve Lags.
All right, let's get into this. Here's the topic. Today's topic is intentionality in leadership and growth, and the key word is intentional. So I want to introduce this concept of being intentional in life, being intentional in your leadership, and being intentional in your personal growth. It's crucial for reaching one's full potential, and I don't think anyone ever reaches one's full potential, but so many of us in leadership, we're chasing that potential. We're always chasing our full potential, and the irony is the more you grow, the further your potential goes, and you're always kind of chasing that. But in order to reach, the point here is, in order to reach your potential, in order to chase your full potential, go on that journey in life, you got to grow. And in order to grow, in order to succeed in life, you must be intentional about it. It just doesn't happen to you. Growth doesn't happen to you. Success doesn't happen to you. It happens because of your intentions in life. Living an intentional life where you're intentionally living day by day, you're setting targets, you're intentionally, when you approach your day, you have intentionality to it. The things that you do during your day, you have intentionality to it. And I'm going to walk you through here. And I'm going to guide you how to do this. And I'm going to really illustrate to you how this is so important. So first, I have a couple definitions here I want to share with you because I think it's very important to always define a word. So we're going to define intentional, and I'm going to share some definitions from, we have a few dictionaries I grabbed it from. One from the Merriam-Webster Dictionary. It's made, given, or done with full awareness of what is doing. The Cambridge Dictionary, planned or intended. Dictionary.com, done on purpose, deliberate. So if I live an intentional life, if my days are intentional, if everything I do during my days are intentional, it's planned, intended, it's done on purpose, it's deliberate, it's done with full awareness of what it's doing. Now let's think about the opposite of that. If I'm not living an intentional life, if I'm not leading intentionally, if I'm not growing intentionally and developing intentionally, if I'm not approaching my day intentionally or my life intentionally, it's unplanned, it's done without purpose, it's not deliberate. It's done with lack of awareness of what one is doing. It's not made. So do you want to live an intentional life where it's done on purpose, deliberate, planned, and intended, or do you want it to be unplanned, unintended, and whatever it is, it is? That's a big question, because if you want an intentional life that is done on purpose, so you have purpose in your life, you have full awareness, this podcast is for you. But if you don't care, hey, then you probably don't want to listen to the rest of this podcast. Or maybe you want to stay tuned here a little bit longer because that might change your mind. So let's talk about growth. Time alone does not equate to growth. And I think this is a big misconception to most people, where they think that, I'm going to grow because as time goes on, I'm going to grow just by doing something over time. Time alone isn't going to equate to improvement. What's going to equate to improvement is if I intentionally grow and develop. What does happen in time is that, okay, we get older. Time alone doesn't equate to contributions. Time alone doesn't equate to increased value. Time will indicate loyalty. That's for certain. If you stick with it, it'll indicate perseverance. But just simply by spending time or lasting doesn't guarantee you success. And that's why in my organizations, I don't reward on time. So if somebody's here for 5 years, then there's no automatic anything. No, because I value the contributions and the value during the time, the growth during the time, the impact during the time, not just the time. And we should approach our lives the same way. Just because I spent 5 years in a relationship doesn't mean that I added value to another person. If I spent 5 years in a relationship but added a lot of value to the person, then that's a success. It just happens to be what I did during 5 years, because I could potentially add more value in 1 year than another person adds in 5 or 10 years. So it's what we do during our time. And the importance of that is our time on this earth for all of us is limited. And when we don't live an intentional life, we lose the time that we had and we didn't add value during that time. So it's very limited. So we want to be super intentional about our time. Let's talk about the importance of intentional growth. Now, let's say that I want to become a better person. In order for me to become a better person, I have to intentionally grow my character to become a better person, because without intentionality, growth doesn't happen. If I want to become a better dad, I need to intentionally improve my parenting skills. They just don't happen over time. It doesn't just happen because I'm a parent for 15 years. If I just happened to be a parent for 15 years and didn't intentionally work on becoming a better parent, I likely wasn't a very good parent and made so many mistakes I could have avoided because I was proactive and I intentionally grew. If I want to become a better leader and improve my leadership skills, I need to deliberately work on developing my leadership skills. Now, this is where a lot of you in leadership make huge mistakes. You think that just by having leadership experience, you're going to become a better leader. Experience in it by itself does not allow you to improve and develop in life. You'll make some improvements and you're going to do it the hard way. You're going to learn from mistakes, but you are not going to grow and develop and chase your full potential in leadership if you're not intentionally developing yourself as a leader. Professional skills. If I'm not a leader, I just want to become better at my profession so that I'm more successful. I need to intentionally invest in developing my expertise in my field. If I'm not intentional about it, just because I've been in sales for 30 years, that in it by itself does not make somebody super successful in sales. The experience is important, but experience without intentional growth will be a disappointing sales career, a person that just simply goes from sales job to sales job. If I want to improve the relationships in my life, I need to be intentional about increasing my ability to connect with people, to be able to communicate with others. And I also need to intentionally grow and develop me as a person so that I'm more available for the people that are that I have relationships with. Because I know that if I'm struggling as a person with my baggage, with personal things that are affecting me, and I have these emotional reactions, I will be less available for the people I love and care about because I'm so consumed with myself and responding and reacting to the struggles, internal struggles I'm having as a person. But when I develop myself intentionally and I become stronger, more aware of who I am, I become more available for my kids because I'm not dealing with myself. I'm not like overcoming stuff that I should have overcome a long time ago. And most people just simply drift through life. So what happens is most of us just simply put it on autopilot. We lack purpose and clarity. We're not living an intentional life. And what the consequences are when you don't have intentionality, you end up stagnating in life. You're dissatisfied with your life. You end up waiting for other people to make you happy because you're not intentionally growing, developing, and making yourself more successful, happier, and more impactful. You're waiting for everyone else to do it for you because you think like, well, if I find the right person, they're going to make me happy. And when I hear someone say, so-and-so made me happy, I know they're in trouble. because no one else can make you happy until you make yourself happy first. You already need to be happy. They could just amplify who you already are. It's like if you're a grandparent and you're no longer living an intentional life, growing, developing, and making yourself happy, and you're just depending on your grandchildren to make you happy, oh, good luck. Number one, that's too much pressure on your grandchildren. They don't exist to make you happy. And number two, you're setting yourself up for failure because they're not going to be available to make you happy all the time. And sometimes our kids and grandchildren do the opposite for us. When I think about living intentionally versus drifting, don't let your days happen to you. Control your days. When I look at my day, what is my true purpose? What I have clarity. I know what I want to do. I know what I want to get done. I need to have purpose and I need to have intentions and structure in my days. Because, hey, look, some days my intention is to rest. But it's intentional. It didn't just happen to me. No, I set out for that to be a restful day. I needed to recharge. But I'm intentional. Now, when you do that intentionally, it feels a lot better than it just happened to me and I was lazy, I didn't plan a day and I got nothing done. And oh my God, I had so much to do. Then you have regret in the day and now you're not happy. So in order to implement intentionality in your life, something that you could use are intention statements. I'm going to provide you an example of intention statements that I have that help me a lot and guide me through the decisions I make. And I'll walk you a little bit through that. So here are some intention statements that I have as an individual. So it's in my intention to become a better father. It's my intention to develop the people I lead so that they may accomplish their goals. It's my intention to be healthy so that I may lead a long and energetic life that allows me to drive impact. It's my intention to be the best example of a caring husband because my wife deserves it. And my daughters will have a great example of what a healthy marriage looks like because I know they're watching every move that I make with my wife. So I have a lot of examples, but those are a couple. But see, when I have intentions statements, okay, it's giving me purpose. It's giving me direction. So now that I have my intention statements defined and set, I can take those and make goals and targets and then ultimately create plans and daily schedules that will support those intention statements because I know what my intentions are. When I intentionally live and I plan my days around accomplishing these goals and targets, I have more successful days, more purposeful days. So I want to start with what my intention statements are. I have got a lot of them. I just shared a few of them because I'll bore you if I go through all of them. But those are some examples of intention statements that ultimately can give me intentionality to my goals, which also I have to back in targets into my goals. And then I've got a plan to be able to hit my targets, to hit my goals. And now I got to look at my days. And now I'm going to have my days, I'm going to live my days more intentionally. How about some examples of intentionality in profession? So when leading an organization, here's some examples in marketing. So if I'm a marketing professional, this is why it's so important to be intentional. If I'm a marketing professional and I'm creating an ad, and that looks great. If I don't know what the intention of the ad is, how can I ever have a successful ad? So before I even start with an ad, what is the intention of this ad? What is my desired outcome? What is the purpose of this ad? When I understand that, I can be so much more successful in creating that ad so that I get the desired outcome because I was intentional with how I created the ad. Oh, I know that I need to keep the ad on brand, but the desired outcome is for a new potential prospect to click on the ad to ultimately fill out a form to provide us a lead. Okay, I understand that. Very good. So now I know the call to action on the ad needs to be click the link so they can get on the landing page. And when I go create the landing page, I know I got to convince them, give them the reason and the value to be able to submit their information so we get the lead. If I'm in sales, this is really important sales. I want to understand this. Let's say that I have a target of making 150 calls a day in sales. If I don't understand the purpose of that and I don't understand what the intention of that is, and I just simply, okay, I made 150 calls. I'm making 150 calls to make 150 calls. That's a transactional salesperson just checking a box and ultimately is going to not have success in life and is going to fail in sales. Versus I understand the intentions of these calls. The reason I'm going to be making 150 calls a day is not just to hit the number. I know I need to hit the number because that's a target. But behind that, the intention of making these calls is, number one, I need thousands of reps on the phone with customers in order to get really great at this job. So just like in baseball, you got to take so many swings or you got to take so many shots in basketball, I need to take my swings, I need to take my shots, and I need the repetition. And when I get the opportunity to get that customer on the phone, this is an opportunity for me to get better because I need that experience. Also, when I get stuck on those calls, I'm going to identify my opportunities and my weaknesses where I need to grow and develop. So then I'm going to make sure my training is aligned with the obstacles and the opportunities I'm discovering when I don't succeed on a call. So now I'm going to intentionally train and develop as a salesperson because I'm going to overcome my weaknesses because I'm identifying them quicker by being on more calls. I also understand that in order for me to make the number of connections that I need to make with clients, contacts, or contracts, I got to make a lot of contacts. I'm going to need to make a lot of calls because I'm going to get voicemail on probably 80% of those calls. I also know that when I ultimately get them on the phone, I want to make all these calls because I'm going to need to make X amount in order to get them on the phone. My intention when I get them to answer the call is to find out what their problems are, what are their biggest problems, and my intention is to provide them a solution that the solution's value exceeds the price of my solution, so that they get more value than the price they paid. So this is my thought process when I'm making sales calls. Now, an immature transactional salesperson will just simply make the calls. I made the calls. And they're just boom, 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 boom. But an intentional salesperson that wants to make a difference, that's going to have an amazing career in sales, is going to be super intentional about it. What does this all mean for you? Well, if you want your life to improve, if you want to become happier, if you want to be more successful in life, you're going to need to lead an intentional life and not be on autopilot and not drift through life, which the overwhelming majority of people in this world do. Life happens to them. It doesn't happen because of them. They're on autopilot for the majority of their lives. So set intentional goals in life. Make sure you can measure them, because if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. You can't measure your progress, and you can't celebrate the wins when you get there. Be intentional about your day-to-day. Make sure when you have a day, be intentional about what you're going to do. Plan it. I use my calendar for not only my business days, but also my weekends when if I'm not working on the weekend. But if you want your life to measurably improve, you've got to live an intentional life. And with the consequence of not living an intentional life, well, when your life does not improve, you start making sense of it. And maybe some of you here aren't living an intentional life, and you're probably, hey, well, I'm not living an intentional life, but it's all pretty good. Well, that's because you're just starting to make sense of it. What'll end up happening is you start accepting less. Some of you guys, when you don't live an intentional life, you're going to deal with depression. Others are going to find other people to come into your life and tell you how you did good enough and you're so great, but you're really not chasing your full potential, and you could be doing so much better than what you're doing right now. Some of you are just going to experience the same problems and obstacles over and over in life because you're not growing and developing, and that's a result of not living an intentional life. All growth starts with intentionality. Without intentionality, growth just does not happen in life. What this also means for you is that you've got to be intentional about being uncomfortable, because growth does not happen with comfort. So I understand, and I can share with you that the growth zone and the comfort zone are two different zones. And this is something that we really don't teach people enough. And when you're feeling uncomfortable and you're feeling strained and stressed, I want to share a message with you. That's good. That is okay. Do not retreat from it. Do not listen to people who tell you don't need to do this. This is a good thing in life. Because when you grow and develop, you're going to fortify your strength and your success, and you're going to be able to handle more. You're going to have a capacity to handle more of that. But you can't gain that capacity until you strengthen and grow that muscle to be able to handle that discomfort. Because I can assure you, I lived a part of my life where I ran away from that discomfort, fearful of it, and thought it was a sign of what not to do. And what I learned from others and that I mimicked is that that's the sign of what to do. And that when it gets most comfortable is when the most growth is happening, and growth hurts. Like in the gym, no pain, no gain. It's no different. So intentionally seek out the discomfort. You know that if I'm just cruising around, this is so easy, this is good, I'm going. All right, I might be experiencing it in a pleasurable way, but it is not growing right now, okay? But as soon as I get out of my comfort zone, all right, there's opportunity there for growth. So intentionally look for that and go towards that in life. So as a leader, if you're listening to this and you're a leader, you need to be intentional so that you can grow yourself as a leader. Number one, you're going to grow and develop your leadership skills and your ability to lead others. Number two, you're going to set an example of what it looks like to grow and develop as a person. And as a leader, we always have to lead by example, and that means setting a great example. So living an intentional life as a leader, you're going to set a great example for others to be able to, you're modeling and others to mimic that. That's number two. And then I can mentor others. And now that I live an intentional life, I have the ability to mentor others and help them learn how to live a more intentional life so that they may grow and develop, become happier, become more successful, chase their full potential in life, and ultimately become a leader for others in this world. The consequences of not living an intentional life, you guys, it's entitlement, it's bitterness, it's resentment, it's not fair in life, a loss of control in your life, and victimization. That is not a good way to live in life. That's while in the short run, it might seem like it's the easy thing just to kind of put it in autopilot and see what happens in life. But the long-term results of that suck. I've seen people. I could tell you that the short-term option of living an intentional life might be uncomfortable and require a lot of accountability and discipline on your part, but the long-term results are amazing. So guys, go out there. If you're a leader, commit to becoming more intentional. Identify what your intention statements are. And if you're just looking to improve your life, have a happier life, contribute more to your friends, family, and your community, get more intentional. Guys, if you enjoy this topic, I want to hear about it. Put a comment in the YouTube comments. If you're looking for any other topics, I'd love to hear it. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you give us a review on the audio podcast. And if you haven't already, make sure you hop on YouTube and subscribe to the channel, Steve Lags. Hey guys, that's another Steve Lags Unfiltered. I'll see you next week.
That's all for today's Steve Lags Unfiltered journey. Subscribe, rate, and leave a review to fuel your success journey. Also, be sure to listen to us on your favorite podcast channel or outlet. Stay tuned, stay unfiltered, and we'll catch you on the flip side.